What's up, guys? Dr. Chris Park here. Today, let's drink a little coffee and talk about addiction. Specifically today, let's talk about transitioning from Kratom to buprenorphine. That's a common question I get asked. And Kratom is a little different, right? Because it has a longer half-life than some of the pain pills that people take. Shorter than methadone, but the Kratom half-life is around 24 hours. So the question is, how long do you have to wait before starting medication assistance? Now, it gets a little trickier than that. And before I get into this, let me just give the clarification. This is not specific medical advice for you, right? Because you need to talk to your doctor. You need to get full history, physical, etc. Okay, so this is just information that you can use to talk to your doctor and just to have more, maybe knowledge about what you might be going through either now or in the future, etc. Okay, so all right, so back to Kratom. So when I'm talking to a patient who is taking Kratom, I want a kind of an expanded timeline. I want to know what other drugs have they taken within the past few weeks. Let's just give an example. So maybe 2 weeks ago, they took they were taking Percocet for 10 days, and then maybe they took a buprenorphine, Suboxone, Subutex or something, and then maybe all they could find after that was Kratom, and they've been taking that, So I want that timeline. I want to know. And maybe they took a methadone a couple months ago, or a couple weeks ago, or maybe 2 days ago. All that is important information to kind of get an idea of how to start medication assistance. But let's say they haven't really taken anything in the last couple weeks except for Kratom. Now, you also need to know how much, right? Because I've got guys, I know some folks will just, take a little bit once a day or twice a day. Those usually aren't the people coming to see me. It's the people that are coming to see me are the people who are buying it by the caseload. And they're going broke. They're, ruining their relationships because of it. They can't stop it. I mean, addiction. They're addicted to it. So they're coming to see me for help. And I'm not saying that every time we would use even buprenorphine, right? Because but it is an option for some people. And so if we use buprenorphine, which I'm talking about Suboxone or Subutex, or we will, I'll take that timeline, I'll get that history, and I'll also want to know what's the longest they've been without opiates, what kind of withdrawal do they have. Now, I will then use a 24-hour rule. I'll have them off everything for 24 hours, and I will assess them. So again, Kratom, longer half-life, right? So at 24 hours, they may not be in full, really good withdrawal. But I have found a lot of folks are, okay? And it may just kind of depend on the amount of Kratom they're taking, the way their body metabolizes it, etc. Okay, so at 24 hours, I'll take, kind of assess their withdrawal scale and decide if we need to wait another 12 hours or another 24 hours or whatever, and reevaluate them. Some people will be able to start at the 24-hour mark, but some people will need to be pushed further depending on their withdrawal. And that's why I say that 24-hour, it's just kind of a guideline to use to give patients a place to be so we can then assess the next step, okay? But we're going by like this kind of opiate withdrawal, score. That's what we're really wanting to see. And then start the Suboxone low. I tend to start at a 1 to 2 milligram dose and then kind of titrate up depending, throughout the day, over the next 24 to 48 hours to get the appropriate dose that will control the withdrawal, control the cravings, but not kick them into any kind of precipitated withdrawal. So that's kind of the process and the thinking behind that. So do you need to wait 24 hours after Kratom? Yep. Do you need to wait 48? Maybe. Do you need to wait 72? Possibly. Everybody's going to be a little bit different, but I usually take that 24-hour rule and then assess and evaluate. So now what about Kratom? I don't recommend Kratom for tapering off opiates because it's not regulated. You're going to have a hard time knowing exactly what your dose is. It can be difficult to adjust, etc. And I'll just be honest, I don't know enough about its mechanism of action, etc. Meaning, I mean, obviously I've read about it, but it's not something I've used a lot to help people taper off opiates, right? So it's not something, and that doesn't mean that it doesn't have a role in the future. You know what I'm saying? I think if it could be studied more and maybe developed into something that could be used systematically, then it very well may be helpful, right? But I don't recommend it to most folks. I had a friend who told me the other day that, they had found something over the counter that helped with their pain and it helped them have energy again. And lo and behold, they realized it was Kratom. They started studying it, and they didn't know what they were taking at first, right? Well, here's the thing. You think, this thing sounds harmless. This is a recovering addict, and they didn't want to be on something that could lead them down those roads again. So I don't like the fact that this is out there, easily obtained, and yet without people having the knowledge, that it could lead to some difficult times, right? But that being said, I write medications that can also be, misused. And so I think the idea here is that we have we need to have the knowledge of what is possible, what are the risks of these medications, these substances, so that people can make informed decisions about their health care. Okay, so that's the thought behind it. Hopefully one day we'll know more about Kratom, and maybe it'll have a role in helping people. Right now, I don't think we're there. All right, guys, if you have questions, comments, did I leave something out? I don't really write a script for these videos. I just kind of turn the camera on and start talking. So sorry if I rambled. Hope you guys are drinking your coffee and having a great day. And remember, this is not medical advice. Talk to your doctor. All right, peace.